got to watch these gentlemen, huh? So, ladies and gentlemen, that was Jacob Pereira giving a speech there. Our next speaker before we break for lunch. Not very often that I'm approached before a speech. I was asked to describe him as a tall, dark, handsome gentleman until he realized that 99% of the audience were indeed male. So we will go to Plan B, and we will introduce him formally as Bruce Bateman, the Technical Director, APJ Dell Force 10. Bruce brings over 25 years in the IT industry, having worked all sides of the IT world, starting his career in the original cloud provider, IBM Mainframe System 36. So, gentlemen, please put your hands together and warmly welcome Bruce Bateman.
So I actually want to thank a lot of the previous speakers because they kind of helped me with my presentation. Mark talked about change yesterday, and the change in the sprawl that's happening actually in our society is actually happening in the IT world, and it really affects the IT world. You look at the effect of what happened in Egypt, and Google and the Twitter and all this social change. Paul talked about some of the things I'll be talking about. Some of the changes that we see in the data center and how what Jacob just described as being able to go from a POC into your data center, kind of the changes that are happening. Arun, he had a very good question. As a former CIO myself, he asked, who's watching out for us? And as now that I'm on the vendor side, it really is listening to you guys and listening to what changes are required. You asked the question just now, well, I could give you $5 for 5 servers, or if you virtualize, it's $2.50. Where does Dell really make its money? And the money is, it's actually something that Dell doesn't have a choice on. The choice is that the industry is changing. We are now trying to cut down both OpEx, CapEx, people, everything, power. We're getting such hits on our industry is having to change. And we have to change. And Dell as a company, and I'm new to Dell, I just started officially a couple of days ago with the acquisition. But I'm really excited because if you saw the stuff as a new employee, I see what actually Jake was just talking about. I have to go through all the Salesforce.com training and all this. And I'm very excited that it's actually a very streamlined, very well organized solution. So I got to come late. I didn't have the 8,000 apps. I got, you know, when it's now, we've been, sorry, let's figure this thing out. But I have a question before I start, from the last session. How many of you actually I actually build large data centers and help design large data centers. How many of you using Hadoop for your analysis? For those of you who are not, it's actually one of the biggest trends I've seen actually in the industry in the last few, probably year or so. Hadoop is a large data analytical tool that can not only analyze your existing data any which way. Someone asked about unstructured analysis. It does that. And actually, we can talk about Dell is actually, as part of our AIM program, is actually working on a Hadoop solution. So it's very interesting and cool. I want to talk about kind of what's the new era, what's going on. Do I need to? Yeah, like that. Okay. 1, 2. By the way, they asked somebody. Sorry, Jacob asked another question. How many devices do you carry? If you can see from my profile, I carry quite a few. And by the way, I carry like 7 mobiles. But this is the brand new Dell tablet. So again, all these devices are the ones that are going to be carrying and bringing lots of data to you. Those of you who didn't get the Dell phone, you know, Dell does make a phone. It's a smartphone running Windows 7. So there's a lot of new devices coming, and it's about bringing those devices are going to cause you lots of headaches. It's the BYOD, bring your own device. That's going to change the way your network looks. We're going to talk about what I've been seeing or what we've been seeing in data center changes. And we'll talk about, now being an engineer, I'm going to have to talk about products. All right? We've had a lot of guys talking about beautiful pictures, and they've been really good. But I want to talk about kind of what is really out there and what we've been seeing. I'm not going to go through the trends since I started, let's see, somewhere in 80-something. But I started on the mainframe and went to the PC clients, and I've seen the start of the web. I am old. Don't call me grandpa. But I've seen now virtualization. Clustering is missing in this slide. We've gone through clustering, if you remember that era. And really what clustering and parallel computing, if you remember that era. So we take parallel computing and we take clustering, and that is what? That's called virtualization now. So again, Arun, you're right. The terms have changed, but it's all the same. We're still some device in the cloud up there. We used to call the mainframe, and I access it from somewhere with whatever device. The only difference now is we're not using BT100. How many BT100? So I'm not going to go through this because you guys know this, and we promised not to talk about cloud. But it really is, the adoption is there. The adoption to cloud is there. Now, there's different kinds of cloud. Why should you go to the cloud? No reason. You have to actually know what the business decision is. Is it cost savings? Is it, I'm not using, if you look at a lot of the reasons for it, I've got a data center that's on the 3rd floor, it's running at 25% utilization. My data center on the 4th floor is running at 85. Well, if I virtualize, I can get more resources. So you have to have a good business decision. And one of the themes that originally we were going to talk about, but since everybody's talked about it, is what we see the change in the data center is that CIOs are going to become more business people. Because what's going to happen in the future is it's more business rules that will drive what you do, and it'll be less about speed and feed. Today I'm going to talk about speed and feed, but it's going to become less about that, and you're going to care less about that. So the network is in my way. What does that mean? That means people will, it's like, I just want to get on. I just want to do something. And so we have to look at ways of how can we improve how our network works, the speed of our network, and the reliability. And yeah, this is kind of small print, but really what's happening in the networks today is we're seeing a flattening of networks. Now, in 1995, I used to work at a company in San Jose, or a consulting company in San Jose. We developed courseware for this certification that a lot of you guys like to have. And in that class, we taught, and this is 1995, we taught you have a router, then you have a firewall, then you have a core switch, you have an aggregation switch, you have a copper rack switch, and you have your server. How many have gone down that path? All right? Yeah, all right? But now we have more users, we have more bandwidth requirements. We used to get, if we had 100 meg pipe in the US, that was great. Now, some of you know I actually worked in India for a while, and if we can get a 10 meg pipe, we'd be happy. But it's getting changed, right? We're getting fiber around India now. That's actually making a lot of great changes. And so when you get more data in, more bandwidth in, you need to figure out how to do things faster. And this is what we're going to talk about today, is how we're going to make things faster. So we see the network flattening. I'll talk about distributed core. And we see this VM with workload-aware. Jacob just described that, where the network needs to know what's going on. The big change that we see is, and one of the reasons for the Force10 acquisition is, for Dell, is in the market today, what we've seen, and being in my experience has been, we've had 6 different lanes. We have an application lane, and we have our Java guys, and they want to do things their way. Then we have our server lane, and they do things their way. Then we have our storage lane. Then we have our network lane. Then we have our security lane. I'm the security officer, and I'm king. And then we have our network management tools. These are all individual lanes. And Dell has done, with all these acquisitions and with AIM and these Viz tools, is to say, why don't we just take out the swimming lanes and let everybody swim freely, and so that the server needs to know what the network's capability is. The storage needs to know what the server capability is. The NMS gets all this information, and we're going to talk about open automation. And open automation is our way where we can scale, we can go across the campus, we can move things. These are the tools that we're talking about. And what we want to do is redefine today. What we're seeing, the change, is not only a forklift change, but also taking my existing 3-tiered network and figuring out how to make it to a 2-tier or a 1-tier network using my existing equipment. And simplifying. One thing I've learned is IT guys are lazy. They're all very passionate about this because, you know, we get paid very well, but they're really lazy. And when they're lazy, they're not going to do a lot of the stuff that is required to make the network run 100% efficient. They like to run a lot of different protocols because, boss, you can't fire me because I'm the only one who knows that protocol. And that kind of thing is changing in the industry. A lot more now. We want to simplify. We want to do a much easier design. And to the last point, again, what's happening in the network is business is getting involved, and we're going to be looking at software-defined networking. So earlier this year, Dell acquired Force 10. The newspaper was very kind. Force 10, how many have heard of Force 10 before the acquisition? Okay, so this is why I'm going to introduce Force 10, because only like 3 of you have heard of us before. The nice thing about Force 10, it had a lot of great intellectual property. What it did not have is actually the Dell's charm. It didn't have Dell's, we talked about the efficiency and the just-in-time manufacturing and distribution and all of this. We didn't have that kind of money. So let me kind of explain what Dell Force 10 is and what the products are. So our focus has always been in the very, very high-end computing. Dell has been in some very high-end computing with their new servers, but mainly, you know, a lot of people think of Dell as kind of a consumer kind of product, moving up the chain. And Force 10 has always been at the top. A lot of HPCs. 4 of the 5 top HPCs in the world run on Force 10. I'll go through a list of customers. We focus a lot on Web 2.0. They have a lot of specific needs. We focus on that. Latency. Speed within the data center. You may not think, because you're getting guys on 14.4 dial-up still. You've still got people coming on low-end ISDN and DSL. But as bandwidth in India grows, you're going to have the same issues. Actually, probably 10 times the issue, because once bandwidth begins to hit India, you're going to have the same or worse problems than people like Zynga, Yahoo, and Google. So customer list, Alibaba, you've heard of. By the way, eHarmony. Anybody heard of eHarmony? Oh, they're all married. Never mind. eHarmony is a #1 dating site in the US. And you would think, why do they need HPC level products? Because if their system is down for more than an hour, they lose millions. They have all these sites, Zynga, Yahoo, Telefonica as a telco for their data center. They all have a reputation of being always there. Zynga has very specific needs to be always on. As a former IT guy, I used to spend my hours blocking Zynga, but now that I'm on this side of the fence, go Zynga. Cloud computing. Cloud computing has different needs. I can't see that, it's way too. High performance computing. All right, so we'll talk about the products. So we have an S series, which is our 1U line of products. our C series, which is our chassis-based products, our E series, which is our new high-density chassis products, and our Z series, which is our brand new series, and one I'm actually want to introduce to you. Again, customers you may have heard of before, Facebook. You know, when I do this in China, we actually did this whole thing on our Facebook integration in China. Well, you know, halfway through you realize you can't get Facebook in China. So it's not a good example. But here it is. Yahoo, Craigslist, everybody from Dell, you use Force10, you're on Salesforce.com every day. Microsoft Bing and Microsoft Azure, those are all our new products, new customers. But let's talk about India. In India, we have, actually, I had so many, I actually had to come in and put them in one line. But this is our list of our customers. Any of my customers here? Okay, so next year, I hope your names are up here. But in India, we've been around for a long time, and we have a lot of good customer base in India. Matter of fact, today, yesterday, we just won a about $350,000 university project for high-speed computing, high-performance computing in India. In India, Dell Force10 has one domain account executive. He's very good. We have a local sales engineer. We're looking to hire a bunch more people in our domain. In Chennai, so Force10 is headquartered in San Jose, or in Milpitas area. But in Chennai, we have about 100 engineers, software engineers, so software development is done in Chennai. Our sustaining guys who do our, when you want to figure out what's going on and why something happened, our sustaining engineers are there. And our tech support is there. So for India, this is great news. You actually have a lot of local support from us. So not only do you have the Dell engine, but you also have local support for us. So actually, Force10's been around about 10 years. We started out with a company which had very, very specific Web 2.0 needs. A company you might have heard of, I heard they're doing pretty good now, called Google. I heard they're doing good. But we started out doing projects for specific users, for Yahoo, for Craigslist, and now Zynga and Microsoft. These are very specific needs. And we were the first to do 300 gig ports on one chassis, the first to do 10 gig, top of rack. Today, we're the first to do a 40 gigs. And I'll talk about very, very high density. And we're talking about new products and new features. But really, what do the customers want? They want open. Question yesterday was, who's watching out for me and what should I be doing? The real question is, you have to look at open standards. As someone who, you don't want proprietary standards. The reason that you don't is because proprietary locks you into that vendor. The nice thing about Dell's open approach is, in reality, if you don't like us, you can always change. But you have to be able to have that option. That keeps us on our toes, because we know that we have to innovate every day to keep you. But if you locked in, then, hey, you want to change, you can't. Industry standard. The nice thing about the Force10 products, it's an industry standard CLI. Our FTOS has been around for 10 years. It's a proven technology. It's in the largest data centers in the world. We have very high density products. And then what I want to talk about, which is part of the AIM project, is our open automation tools. The open automation tools, we'll get in more detail, but because of time, it's about, first thing, bare metal provisioning. What does that mean? I'll give you an example of a customer of ours that just had to install about 85 plus switches at a time. All these racks needed a top of rack switch. We provide them an Excel file that has the MAC address, serial number of the product. They put it into their DHCP server. The product boots up, it goes get the DHCP, it then pulls down not only its configuration, but also which version of software do you want. So I may be running 2 different versions of the software. That you can decide on a switch by switch at boot time. Now, why is that important? It's because, like Jacob said, no human interaction. It's savings of time, But also, have anybody had to fat finger a root password on a switch or a computer? Once you fat finger it when you're setting it, you're stuck for life, right? That is very, and you won't find out, by the way, until 6 months down the road or a year down the road when that switch has a problem and someone says, log in and check that port, and you can't. So you think, well, the whole switch is bad. The password was wrong. So these are the kind of issues that we want to resolve with our bare metal provisioning. The next one is our smart scripting. Smart scripting gives you the ability on a port basis to write Perl and Python scripts on that port. Why? We have a customer that says, after 10 p.m., change all of the access on my switches from user name and password to root only. Okay? I want to make sure. Also, you can write a script that says, please inform me via email if my CPU utilization hits 85% or higher. Right? These are the kind of things that we're talking about. The next step with AIM is going to be the virtual server networking. Now, we talked about storage virtualization. We talked about server virtualization. And now we're talking about network virtualization. So when you get those three, server, network, and storage, and as a single company, Dell has the ability to now bring these three together and provide you a single interface. What does that mean? That means I'm lazy. I want to sit here. I want to say, I need this, this, and this. Boom. Let the network manager do that for you. And that's what our virtual server. Last thing is you'd be surprised, but most of our customers don't like GUIs on their web servers on their switches. Now coming into the enterprise business, we will be putting GUI on a web server onto our switches. We'll talk about distributed core real quick. I won't get into this then. But again, 10 years of FTOS proven. It's modular, so if the issues happen in one module, they don't affect the other. So it's a very modular, very, very proven technology. All right, let's talk about going from, I know I'm between you and lunch, so I gotta hurry. Let's talk about going from the traditional 3-tier now to a 2-tier. So we do have that ability, and we'll show you in documents and white papers on how to do that. And that then gives you where we see what we call distributed core. Now, what is distributed core? It's really nothing. All it is a change in the paradigm that says traffic is not north-south anymore. It's actually east-west. Okay? I'm a web company. Traffic comes in. It needs to find a server. Well, the server, if it's on the same plane, then I can do that very quickly. No need to go up, through somebody else, down, need all these routing protocols. Keep it all very simple on a 2-tier architecture. So you can start out with a new one, or you can actually, we'll show you how to go from a 3-tier to a 2-tier. All right, products, very quickly. We have our I guess we call them low-end chassis, but it's not really low-end. These are high-density chassis, normally for wiring center in a row kind of products. All right. Our E-series, which is our high-end, very high-density products, 10 gig, some 40 gig in there. This is the one I want to talk about. This is cool. All right. This is a 2U, all right, 2RU product, 2.5 terabits. It's got 32 40 gig ports. Okay, wow, you may not need that in a second. But what you can do with that is add, we have a 4-to-1 splitter, and that'll give you 128 10 gig ports. And it runs at 800 watts. So what is the significance of this? In every country in the world, with the exception of maybe Malaysia, or in Asia rather, power by council is an issue. The amount of power you consume, you will run into a trouble. I can tell you right now, in a lot of countries, Japan especially, they've been hit with this to reduce the amount of power they're using. But power consumption in India will be a problem if it isn't already. How much power will they give you? I'll give you a good example. Our last 2 data centers that people have inquired about, they just come in and they tell you, I like 18 kilowatts of power. Council gave me 18 kilowatts. Build me a data center. Now, they did tell us the size, the number of racks. But then what can you put in there? They're looking for the highest density and the lowest power. So this product is 1/10 the footprint of a normal chassis product. Because it's a lot less metal, it's 1/5 the price, and the power consumption is 1/20 of a standard chassis. This is a great product to be using in a distributed core environment. It allows you to very quickly build very, very large data centers. This is a 10 gig, and by the way, I can say today that there is a new Dell blade coming out that will be part of the FTOS solution that will allow you to have, it's coming out probably in the Q1 of next year. So it's a Dell blade, 10 gig. It's a very, very powerful for the Dell blade solution. The next big, these are our core switches, or 1 gig switches, top of rack. The only one that I like the most is the S60. It's got the normal switches have very little buffer. You want speed, so you don't want buffer. But some applications, like web and some companies that do a lot of burst mode data, they like to have this that has about 1.2 gig of RAM in it, or of memory in it, and allows you to allocate much more than just a 1 or 500K or whatever buffer that you have on a normal switch. The #1 selling product around the world today, it will be our S4810. This is our top of rack core. You can add it as core, you can add it as top of rack, you can aggregation switch. It's 32 ports, 48 ports of 10 gig. Again, it has 4 40 gig ports on it. So if you add the breakout cable, you can get up to 64 10 gig in a 1U. And the reason for this product was designed for a particular customer at ultra high speed. Very low latency in here. That's a huge difference in this one. So you can see this is a product that we'll have out next year. I won't talk about it since we're running out of time. We talked about open automation, and I believe I'm out of time. So with that, I just want to close. Force 10 does have, with the Dell Power Connect line, so if you add the Dell Power Connect line, which is a lot of 1 gig switches, good top of rack, good wiring closet products, with the Force 10 product line, now you have a much larger range of products, and you can have a good end-to-end solution, layer 2, layer 3 products. And with our FTOS and open automation tools, makes your life much easier. Just look for a lot of new things coming out in the Q1 time with the integration between Dell and Force 10, and everything you'll see in the future will be Dell branded. So, well, people asked real quickly, how do we compete? We do compete very well. We compete on quality, we compete on reliability. We don't compete on feature set because we focus a lot on exactly what you need. There's not a lot of fluff in our OS. And I think we're running out of time, so we won't need to talk about how all this is virtualizing and how the network is virtualizing. If you guys would like, give me your card. I can get you a lot more information on how things are virtualizing. But we see this now. Again, the swimming lane concept is what you see today. That's what's going away. And that's the value of the new Dell networking group. Now, the new Dell networking group is actually headquartered in San Jose. And so we're getting a lot of the local resources. So between Dell Networking, which is in San Jose, not too far from where Force 10 is, in our Chennai office. In Chennai, we're actually going to be hiring another 100 people. So we're growing quite a bit in India. But I thank you for your time. And I will take questions. Or will I? No. Any questions? Uh-oh.
Hello. My name is S. Poddar. My one question is this. You are going for this 40 gig. 40 gig port. Is there any distance limitation?
So the distance limitation is based on the cable that you choose. Short distance, we can use DAC. Long distance, we do have long distance cables. You can go, there are up to 40-kilometer cables. So
Actually, you said this normally use this monomode optical fiber cable.
yeah.
For monomode optical fiber cable for 10 gig, we can get the distance of around 10 kilometers.
Yeah, so you're going to see a lot of work and advancements in 40 gig long distance. Today, that's an issue. You can get, shorter distance, 3 to 5 kilometer stuff. But you will see a lot more optics coming out. But we also see a lot of people not doing that. We see a lot of people actually converting and going onto an existing, dark fiber network. So we do see different ways of going. We do see people running, long reach cables, and we do see people running. The nice thing about this is you can also support stack. So you can do passive cables that are very cheap. By the way, very quick note on why people are now going from chassis base to fixed. Now, these are camps. Some people love chassis because it's central there, and some people love the 1-2U product. What a large customer of ours said was, first of all, Moore's law is still in effect. So this 2.5T is going to grow. The other reason why is you can run your cabling closer to the switch, or to the server. So when you run chassis, you're running longer cables. But with fixed units, you can actually run shorter cables to your servers and in between. Saves you a lot of money. But today, in the 10 gig, you can get long distance. But in the 40 gig, there's still a little bit of waiting to do. One way to get around that is to run the 4x10.
And I have got another question. In your slide you have shown, say, one particular switch having 24 port or 40 gig. This each 40 gig port can be converted into, say, n number of, say, phone number of 10 gig port.
Yeah, 4.
Yeah, phone number. So for each port, what type of converter you use or adapter you use?
So we provide you with an adapter. They're common. So I'll explain 40 gig for you. Today's chipsets are actually 10 gig. So you put 4 10 gig chips in, you get 40 gig. And so when we send out on the split, on the 4-to-1 splitter, it's actually 4 different chips. So that's how you get your split. So we do provide, and we do sell, the breakout cables, and we have them in short distance, some medium distance, and we have them in DAC also, passive. So we do provide. Now, good question that you're asking is, can I use someone else's cables? The answer is, depends. Depends if we've tested them. Dell has a series of cables that runs, and some people you can buy from local vendors. The whole question right now is about manageability and does it work, first of all, and after that, is there manageability in it? If you buy Force 10 cables, we do provide that manageability. If you don't want it, then you can. There are options, and right now, it depends on what you're connecting to, from and to, then you need to figure out, is that cable certified? Now, if it's not certified, you can try it yourself. Right.
Ladies and gentlemen, can we have a big round of applause for Bruce Bateman? Thank you very, very much for that speech.